Hello people, Paolo here again. In my last vlog I promised a video about an exercise I use for my writing. I like to call it a descriptive exercise because it helps me find possible issues in my stories after I've done them. But it's not very useful as a scheme to follow, so it's not a prescriptive kind of thing. Here I have the first page of my novelette, A Seed for Future Friendship, which I just published on my Patreon page, and also which I know as issues, because it's been beta read, and I know where the issues are. What I'm gonna do is read each paragraph and try to find if I developed the three main elements of a story: character, plot, and setting. I usually do this on paper because I find it easier, but this time I will use a Google Doc comment function. Let's start. Chapter 1. Samantha sat on a small stone chair under the side of the slave master, a robust dwarf in blue garbs. The shirt he wore was very large and felt down his shoulders, leaving them uncovered. He was sitting some paces away from Samantha, legs crossed and wrapped in a pair of short trousers that only reached below the knee. This is quite easy. We only see setting developed in this paragraph. I only talk about how the dwarf is dressed. One may see that there's also character. Samantha is introduced, but we don't talk at all about him. I don't talk at all about her, so it's only setting. Second paragraph. He was a Rubio, a blonde dwarf, and the contrast of his hair complemented the color of his dress nicely. He combed his beard in two long braids, woven with rows of white and blue gems, held together by strings of silk. But he let his hair flow, curled and long down his back. Again, the second paragraph is mostly setting, but there's a little hint of character, as Samantha expresses an opinion. She says that the combination of the dwarf hair color and the dress color is nice. So there's a little character development, but is still mostly setting. Now I will go on. You will see I have already noted many of the paragraphs to make it quick. Samantha knew that color, number and design of the gems in his beard were a sign of his tribe, but memorizing all the possible tribe would have taken way too long. She knew that this combination meant middle upper class and would have to work with that. Again, third paragraph is still mostly setting, with some development of Samantha's character, and possibly one can say a little plot hint. She's not really here to talk to this guy, we don't know much more, but mostly setting and some character development. I see you have many slaves, she said. Apagados, the slave master corrected her. Please, use the correct term. Our tradition might resemble something that you have already encountered before, but we take great pride in our contracts. Samantha wanted to roll her eyes, but restrained herself. This finally is a paragraph with some character development, both Samantha and the dwarven slave master, mostly in relationship with the dwarven culture and not each other. This may be a problem, but there's some character development, finally. But also much more setting. Again, setting the dwarven like their contracts, blah blah blah. Next paragraph. Dwarves were very formal and had so many rituals and formalities. Any other elf would have already lost her temper, but she had trained herself. She was here for a purpose. Sitting and talking was the easy part. She nodded at the slave master, showing respect. then placed her hands straight on her laps, signaling she was willing to listen. So many dry rituals, she thought. This is a good character development paragraph, and also there's finally some plot going on. We see that Samantha is here for another reason and she has to endure, in her opinion, this conversation, which she's not clearly liking, and all the formalities required to appear the person she is trying to be, which is not clearly her. He caressed this bird and straightened his back on the chair. The trade is increased a lot lately. A famous artisan designed a new trimming tool about a year ago. Now we don't need to use a knife for the trimming process. We have reduced the risk of infection and relative casualties by 90%. He seemed pleased of that. This is also a good character development paragraph, in my opinion, because we see more of the dwarf slave master. We see more setting again, but mostly is character development. We see how the dwarf slave master takes pride in trading in lives. Going on in the chapter, we will see the same issue, which I will now point out. I think it's quite obvious the main issue with this page is that there's pretty much only setting in the first character, only setting the first paragraph, setting and a little character in the second paragraph, setting and character in the third, and finally in the fifth paragraph, like 300 words into the story, we finally see some plot. I know for certain that this is an issue in this story. The story is slow to start. I don't talk about what's happening soon enough. There may be other problem, like the first chapter only being about setting is boring, I'd say. It's best to try to catch the reader attention with a strong character or a plot, not with describing for 2 paragraphs how a dwarf is dressed, which I like, I love it, don't get me wrong, but I should have put it later, probably, maybe even in the second chapter. Surely not the first 2 paragraphs about this. As I said, my beta reader pointed out the same things I noticed with this exercise. So it works pretty okay, I guess. As you see, it's descriptive in the sense that you cannot really do this before. You may want to write a paragraph that has all 3 elements or only some of them. I write short paragraphs. They are about 50 words each, so you may not be able to fit all the elements in each one. I may not be able, not you. But if you write longer paragraphs, you surely can fit all, and the more you fit them, the more bite the story has. It really grows on you. And to show you this, I have the first page from another novel, which is called Blood Flow, Southern California Gothic, by David Hill Jr. It's an amazing novel. I suggest you go buy and read it. It's amazing. It's a little, it's different from what I write. I guess it's urban fantasy, but it's also dark and grim. I like it. David is a better writer than me, you will see soon. And I've tried the same exercise on his writing to see how he handles these 3 elements. So let's see. Chapter 1. You know that story about the kid who put his finger in a hole in a dam to stop the flood? Bullet wounds don't work that way. A finger, a hand, a shirt, it doesn't matter. The blood flows hard. When it's coming from your chest, every second feels like your last. You scramble, you panic. You spout off all the sobbing nonsense your oxygen-deprived brain can come up with. Your friends and family eat it up and they spout the same bullshit right back at you. How it's going to be okay, how the dead guy next to you is going to a better place. Okay. David writes a longer paragraph than me, but we can easily see that there's character development. This guy has, okay, there's plot development. There's a guy who's been shot, possibly lying somewhere, bleeding. There's huge plot that you are literally thrown exactly in the middle of the action. There's a setting, or at least enough to understand that it's a modern setting. Dams, bullets, friends that talk you about an afterlife. It's quite the common world, I say the modern world we live in. And also, as I was saying before, there's character development. You see how this the main character is going through the motions of being shot, and how he's disappointed about that. You can clearly feel from the writing how what the character thinks, even if it's not explicitly written. But it's a very good character development, in my opinion. So David put all three elements, plot more than the other, in my opinion, in the first paragraph. My first paragraph is not this good. So let's try to go on in David's paragraph and see how he does the following ones. I'm bleeding out. I grab at my chest, trying everything I can to stop the flow. Everything hurts, not just the bullet wound. The August pavement burns into my back. My back hurts because of fucking course my back hurts. I scraped my knee when I fell to the ground. I'm angry. I wish my body could just focus on the gunshot. I wish it was like those stories where the guy gets stabbed but doesn't know until someone tells him. Again, this time the plot is not the foremost element of the story. I guess it's the second to third one. This part is mostly character. The character is angry, the character is very snarky about what is happening to him. He's dying and doesn't want to die. But also there's more setting. We know now that it's August, is laying on the pavement, on the concrete, because it's hot from the sun. We can understand it quite easily. He's hurting and is always hurting. I think this is more setting than character, but is also character. But as I said, there's also some plot. So he fell to the ground. There's not really much plot, but there's some plot. The pain magnifies every sense. Sirens down the street sound like concert speaker pressed against my ear, and look like tie-dyed shirts off in the distance. Every time someone grabs my arms and legs, I feel like a punch in my face. My blood smells like the welding room back at the Honda plant I worked at a few years ago. Guys in blue jumpsuits lift me onto a stretcher. I feel 1,000 pounds pushing down on my lungs. I feel like I'm drowning and I tell them I'm not going to make it. They tell me to stop talking, that I need to try to relax. Save my breath, they say. Breath, they say. Again, there's huge focus on the character, on his feeling and reaction and what he is going through, which is, of course, plot. by definition, what is happening to the character is the plot. There's little setting in this paragraph, but there's some anyway. We see that again we are brought to the present by the guy in blue jumpsuits, which we assume are paramedics or something similar. We are brought to the present by the Honda plant the character worked in, which is something quite modern in Honda plants, I guess one could say in the last 20 or 30 years, or maybe a little in the future, but well, if you are too far away, I don't think Honda would be the... Well, my brain goes to modern, contemporary setting. That's what I wanted to say. The next few minutes bleed together. The ambulance shakes hard. They shove an oxygen mask in my face. The lights blind me. They strap me down. Why do they need to strap me down? I struggle. They jab something in my arm. I tell myself I'm going to make it, and go limp. The breaths stop hurting. The bullet wounds stop burning. My vision blurs just a little more. I forget everything in it but my anger. I'd murder for a burrito full of pastrami, mustard, pickles, and French fries. I have no idea how I'd eat it when my hands are covered in blood, but I want it. Then I don't. My stomach turns over, and I want to throw up all over the EMTs, but I can't. I can barely even open my eyes. This is so much plot. I'm not very good at pushing plot in my paragraphs, and reading this paragraph aloud to this video makes me notice how much plot we get from a single paragraph. It's like, I don't know, a 5-10 minute ride in the ambulance, and it pressed down, I don't know, 100-120 words probably. This is, to me, inspiring. If someone can do it, I can work on my craft and do it also. There's also character development. We see how this guy is quite focused on himself, I guess. But there's also, again, some setting. Something is happening. It's not supernatural yet, but if you have read any kind of supernatural novel or story, you are raising an eyebrow. She's angry but doesn't want a burrito. What will he want? Blood? I don't know. But there's, again, the three elements of the story are all present in each paragraph. Usually two are more developed than the third one, but they are all there. The first page is almost over. I will go through the last three paragraphs at once. Minutes later, they carrying me into the hospital. I'm sure they are saying plenty, but I just hear, go, 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 like the hero of a shitty big budget action movie barking at this fashion model coaster as they run away from a CGI explosion. I try to look around, but it's just white walls and blue jumpsuits, as far as my eyes can see. I try asking, but it comes out as groaning and drooling. They bring me into a room and swarm. 8, maybe 9 faces. They pull lamps like spotlights to beam down on me. It's blinding. They are hot as the sun on the broad walk. I feel like carnitas under the grocery store heat lamp. I groan. They spin some bullshit. You're going to be fine. They all tell me that, keep fighting. They all tell me that, keep fighting. That's one of my favorite. Fight, tied down, barely conscious, numb, bleeding out. But somehow I'm supposed to fight. Do I tell my arteries to stop pumping? Do I slow my breath to conserve oxygen? I wiggle my toes. I feel like a badass, a fighter. My eyes close, my eyes open. Every time they open, I see a little more blood on their scrubs and gloves. Every time my eyes close, they stay closed a little longer than the last. I hear the beep, the long beep like on TV. I wonder if they are going to use those paddle things. They don't. One of the women says, "We are losing him." I try to open my eyes, to tell them they are not losing me. They do. Again, I will. They are very similar, these three chapters. For my exercise, of course, we see the development on the plot, what it appears the main character dying, and his reactions to it. We see little setting in this part, because there's mostly a reminder to the modern era, but we already know of the setting, everything we need to know. What's more important is the bite of the plot, the plot that keeps pushing, and the character reaction and the snarkiness of the character, which is amazing. I guess it's not, I want to use praising word, because I really think it's an amazing novel. This one has some amazing paragraphs. It's like the time it's stretched. We see everything happening like in slow motion, while actually everything is rushing. But since the character is fading away, to him it appears in like flashes, in frames. And I think it's amazing how these develop a plot quickly, but at the same time slowly. Okay, I hope it makes sense. Again, mostly is plot and character. I guess one could say with the same weight, plot and character, and a little setting, some hint about modern era and the rest. This was the first page. As I said, David is way better writer than me. As you can see, he puts plot and character front and foremost in his story. The novel is all good like this. You go through an amazing story through the eyes of a compelling character, which I guess it's something to reach for when you are a writer. But he never leaves behind the other element of the story. So if he has to, of course, give us, to the readers, some setting so we can understand what's happening in the scene, he gives to us in the second paragraph and in the first paragraph, because we need to visualize in our minds the scene. But it's not the main element, which is a mistake I made in my story. I put the setting too much in front, to the point that I forgot the other element in the first paragraph. He keeps the elements that push forward the story, plot and character, as the more important one, but doesn't leave anything behind. As the story progresses, so we go on the paragraphs in the first page, we see that setting is a little, I'm not saying left behind, because it's there, but it's not important as it was before. We already know where this is happening. It's the modern world. We got some hints about something strange going on, like the hunger going away. It's a vampire story. We know where this is going. The author doesn't need to explicitly tell us that the main character is dying and will be reborn as an undead, because it's a vampire story. We know this. It's in the cover, I think, but it's quite obvious, but it's still there, and he drags us, he literally takes us by the collar and drags us to the end of this scene with a lot of strength, really a lot, to see what happens to this amazing character which keeps talking in first person to us about how this sucks to him. Which is exactly what I want to feel, because he is dying, and dying sucks. I really love this story. As you can see, it got me very pumped. Please consider going to Davis' the website or Amazon page or Goodreads page, buy these or other of his novels. I think he is already published free, and the fourth one is going to be published soon. They are all this good. I hope this showed you an interesting exercise, how we can look back at our writings, or I can look back at my writings, or you can back at everyone else's writing, and see this, how to compose a very biting paragraph, keep the writing tight and interesting. We will see on video probably in about a couple of weeks. I will be moving next week, so time is less than usual, but I will keep publishing the chapter of my novelette. Although it's not perfect, I want to have you see it, so you can, if you want, comment and give me feedback on it. Thanks again for watching. Have a nice day.